All right, what's going on, family? This is Paul McMillan II, and welcome to a backtesting session. This is a session that I actually got into this morning. There was a live markets on NAS100. I wasn't able to actually record the live session because for some crazy reason, my internet was acting up, so my Zoom was acting up, so I wasn't able to record. So I'm going to show you guys how I actually caught a sell pretty much on this candle here. So let me go ahead and activate my replay tool so I can show you what I got in, and then I want to start the process. So I pretty much got into all of this here, pretty much. It smashed my first take profit. I believe I closed my first partial trade then, and then closed pretty much, I think, when it got close to my second take profit. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just take my replay tool, and I'm going to start all the way pretty much here. This is where I actually started at, and then I started there. So let me go ahead and start my normal process. So let me do this real quick here. So I'm going to start all the way from the beginning on how I got started, and then show you guys how I made money. So I'm going to turn off all of my indicators. So typically the first thing I do is I mark up market structure from the 15-minute to the 4-hour time frame. So I'm going to go all the way back in time. So let me freeze my recording until I go all the way back in time. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is as far back as price will go. What I do is I put my vertical line here, okay? Then I start marking up my market structure. So I do that off the areas where price is resting on, whether support or resistance. So this is areas where they're grabbing liquidity, and that's why price is pushing up heavily and creating imbalances in the market, whether price is going up into a buy or a sell. So I'll mark all of this up. And then once I mark all of this up, so basically I mark my zones right after it. That way I can clearly see where price is actually respecting these zones. That way I know areas where it's causing price to shoot extremely to the downside or to the upside. Like here you see price resisted, took a lot of liquidity, and it finally hit this. And the institutions forced price to go down heavily to this point. So that's why marking up market structure is important. Let me do that here. Right here. All right. Then we're going to move on to the 30-minute time frame and do the same exact thing. All right. So the 30-minute starts here. So I'm going to take the vertical line, put it here. I'm going to make that green. And then I'm going to draw my zones here. Right, and that's what we're going to do. Then I drew my zones on these as well. That's what I'm going to do here. Then I move to the 1 hour time frame. Do the same exact thing again. And go all the way back to where my vertical line was for the 30 minute, which is here. And then put a vertical line right up in here. Make this red. Then I drew my zones here as well. All right. So now I drew my zones for these. So then we're going to move on to the 4 hour. And what I do at the 4 hour is I go all the way to current price, and then basically finish marking up those areas. So as you can see, probably mark up this and down here with this purple. And then I'll mark up my zones there. All right. Then basically what I do is once I'm done with that, I go back to the 15 minute. As you can see, these zones are built built perfectly on price. And so then basically that's when I actually do my analysis as far as figuring out what trend the price is. And then basically locating the order blocks and all the other stuff. And that's when I actually put up, all my take profit zones and all that other stuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way back to when I marked up price, and then we're going to go over what I did and also how I made money. Let me pause this recording until I get that. Be right back. All right, so as you can see, at this point, I have already drawn up my trend line because I did my analysis based off of looking at imbalances in the market and, of course, the order blocks. And I pretty much concluded that there was more of a chance that price was going to sell. It was based off of everything. So let me erase this. So with that, basically what I did was I set my risk to reward tools and just waited for price to break and retest in one of those areas. So I originally had my two white lines down here, but as time went on and price got closer to the 930 bell, price kind of moved up a little bit. So that's why I adjusted my lines up to here. So after I basically set my take profit zones and I set my alarms and everything, I basically waited to see what price was going to do all the way up to the 930 bell. So at this point, price kind of pushes up. And so that's the reason why I kind of made my adjustments and moved my X factor lines or my break and retest zones up to here, because then price started pushing up to this point. And then it started resisting this area. And when I saw this wick, it let me know that, yeah, there's definitely an order block in this area. And price is resisting that. So it's probably a huge chance that price is going to reverse and shoot on down. So I took note of that. So then what I did was when we got closer to the 930 bell, I basically waited for price to break out. And so then I saw price push here. So I saw that, the yellow EMA was getting close to crossing the red EMA, but not quite. Then the yellow EMA almost pretty much crossed there. So at that point, that's when I jumped in for a sell. Now, of course, like I mentioned before, my Wi-Fi was acting up, so I had a lot of issues, but I was able to lock in my profits. So at this point, price pushes down. And once price pretty much smashed my take profit here, I was already in $60 profit. No, it's $53 profit, I believe. And I'll show you the proof in a minute. So then I closed my first partial trade and price already did crush my first take profit here. And so at this point, price goes all the way down to about over $1,000 over 1,000 pips of NAS, okay? So then at that point, I do that and price pushes even more, but then resists this. And so then once it kind of pushes back, I went ahead and closed my second partial trade, so I already made money. But then price pushed down a little bit more, smashed, and it already smashed the second take profit. So we were successful on this trade. But then of course price starts to push up, and then it starts, because it's basically mitigating off of this imbalance move it just created. But I'm already out of the trade at that point. But notice price quickly reverses and shoots on down again, and it pushes down again. So it just goes to show that it's respecting this order block liquidity up in this area here. Order block here, so it's respecting that, and it's making price go down even more. So, and now you can see that price is still respecting that liquidity. It's coming up again. And then it looks like it's pushing down again. So it's respecting that order block area. And so when we look at current price now, price keeps on coming up and it's respecting that area, and it's probably going to push down again. But that's typically how I made money in this market. Now let me share my phone screen, and I'm going to show you exactly how much I made off of this trade. Give me a second here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. All right. So as you can see on my first partial trade, I made $53. All right. And then on my second partial trade, I closed $7 because price kind of pushed back a little bit. So I didn't want to be in the negative, so I went ahead and closed it, and that gave me a total of $60 profit. So that just shows how much money I made this, and this was in my live account. And I can actually show you inside the MetaTrader 4 here. Hold on for a second. Let me share my phone screen again. For some reason it wasn't responding. All right, so this is my MetaTrader 4. When we look at my history tab, you can see this is how much I made in live markets. And then I withdrew to $60.43, okay? $60.43 in profit. And this is my live account off of Eagle FX. This was real money I made. So that's just proof right there. But yeah, that's how we made money in this on NAS100 this morning. So that's it for this backtesting session. I'm going to do another live session tomorrow, and then a video on the backtesting session as well. So see you guys later, and see you in the next backtesting session. Stay tuned.